Hey, folks. I'm just gonna go over what it's like to be a man, especially a man with autism, when you try to reach out for help and get emotional support from even your peers, and how people just systematically dismiss you and don't really give a crap about you. And worse still, this didn't happen here, but they often gaslight you into thinking you're the bad guy for taking issue with it when you call them out on it. So here we have someone who posted a message kind of just saying, I wish I had an SO. That's kind of the gist of it, which is fair. A lot of people who are disabled want SOs, and it's very difficult to get one, especially for people who are disabled, and no one really helps us, because either they think that they infantilize us and think we can't, or they view us as less than, or they're just selfish jerks who don't want to do anything and just want to continue to be narcissists that deflect any responsibility for anyone else, even people they supposedly care about, away. And it's like, but how do you just sit there and watch someone you care about struggling and not even try to help? It's just disgusting behavior. But whatever, subject for another video. Another person chimes in, don't put that in the group so-and-so. And I, seeing this and knowing what it's like to be in the situation, I'm like, well, honestly, if he wants to vent, I don't see what the big issue is. Sure, it's like personal information, but like, if he's comfortable with sharing that, that's his choice. It's not like someone else shared that for him. And here's a refreshing change of pace that I'm not used to. A couple people actually chime in and say, yeah, I agree with you. You have a point, which is refreshing, and I appreciate it. It's nice not to just be me facing off against an entire army on my own with no one backing me up, which is what usually you face in this situation. Then the first person chimes in, but like so-and-so said, guys, that stuff should not be said in this chat. I reply to the agreeers and say, God, I'm not the only one. And then I reply to him, like, yeah, it's sort of TMI, but where the heck else are half of us supposed to say things like that? And before I can complete that thought, the admin says, thank you guys' opinion, but due to reasons that only concern so-and-so and staff, that comment was not appropriate for the public. Why? I mean, I saw it. It wasn't that bad. It's not like he posted his social or anything in there. It was a little bit personal, but again, it's like, what's the big deal? I just don't get it. Like, again, that's his choice if he wants to share it, and he chose to share it. What's the problem? I say, like, for me, I've tried reaching out to so many social groups with personal issues, and none of them cared at all. It's really the truth. Someone else says, I agree. Someone else says, enough. Someone says, I agree with you, Victor. Then the admin comes in and says, you're free to share and vent in this chat with everyone, but so-and-so's post should not be public at this time. Please discuss something else. It's really, so sort of like you're free to vent, except you're not free to vent. You see the hypocrisy in that? I just don't understand why. Really, it's just, again, people being silenced. They try to talk about things that bother them, and they can never actually get people to listen. The only time they acknowledge it is when they call you out for expecting them to acknowledge it. Because, like heck, because being a decent person is apparently too much, and expecting them to be a decent person makes you a bad guy. God, I just don't get it. The original person says, I'm just venting. The other person chimes in, enough. Yeah, enough. Someone else says, I am saying nothing. And I'm like, honestly, if this is how people hurting are handled, I think I'm going to be doing a lot of that here in the future too, so-and-so, replying to the person above. And then they basically just try, I didn't get this on screenshot, but they basically just said good night. Like, again, it's what my parents do. When they don't want to talk about something and you call out why it's not fair, they just try to change the subject and rug sweep it and make it clear they're not interested in listening. I've dealt with this crap so many times in my life. I dealt with it on Fiora the Tank Girls Discord, not from the person in general, but the people on there, like the populace. And a lot of other people dealt with this too. I would see other people post things in like the Need a Friend tab, and nobody would ever actually acknowledge them. They would just change the subject. I tried posting on FimFiction. I got stonewalled, and then when I got fed up with being stonewalled and said, you guys need to cut this crap out, I need support here, they pulled the same, don't let the door hit you on the way out, oh, no one owes you anything. What? So, and called me toxic, trying to gaslight me into thinking I'm somehow the bad guy and my expectations are too much when no, they're not. You're just a jerk who doesn't want to deliver. I dealt with that thing in a social group I had closer to home. I've dealt with that in a Discord group. I've dealt with this same pattern of dismissal so many times where no one listens to you and you're just begging, someone help me, please, SOS, shooting up distress rockets, and you can see the Californian on the horizon. You know they can see you. Why aren't they doing anything? And then eventually when your situation gets worse and you get mad, why didn't you get me out of this when you could have done something? You were out of line to do that. And you call them out and say, what the heck, Californian? Why didn't you come save us? We were right there. There was nothing stopping you. And then they have the audacity to get on your case and try to make you out to be the bad guy. I love this excuse people always say. People are so busy. They can't reply. So, look, I'm not expecting everyone to drop everything and reply, but is it too much to ask for one or two people to acknowledge what I said? No, it's not. No, it's not. And your excuse of them being too busy falls flat on its ass when you note the fact that people had no problem engaging when the subject was changed to something else. It's not that they're too busy. They're just assholes. And you are an enabler. And I'm so sick of being gaslit and to think people trying to make me think that I am somehow wrong and expecting too much when all I want is people just to treat me like I matter and like I exist and stop ignoring me. That is not unreasonable to ask, and it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. And this is what you have to deal with when you have autism and are a man. Probably men have to deal with this too, but it's even worse now because now you have the stigma on top of it. And it needs to change, and people need to stop acting like it's not this bad. It is this bad.